From the Texas State Sports Network, I'm Brant Freeman with the Bobcat Minute. Texas State's baseball team is on a 5-game winning streak, completing a sweep of Bethune-Cookman on Sunday with a 4-3 win at Bobcat Ballpark. The Bobcats pitching staff racked up 36 strikeouts in the 3 games, allowing just 5 earned runs the entire series. Texas State, now 12-4 in the season, continues its season-long 8-game homestand this week with midweek games on Tuesday and Wednesday against UTSA and Prairie A&M, and then opens conference play at home against Appalachia State starting on Friday. Texas State softball team won its Summit opening series over Georgia State 2-1 over the weekend in Atlanta, wrapping up the series with a 7-0 win on Sunday. Sunbelt Conference tournament play begins this week for Bobcat basketball. The Texas State women face UTA in the opening round on Tuesday in Arlington, and the Bobcat men host a winner between Appalachia State and Coastal Carolina in the quarterfinals on Wednesday at Strand Arena. For Texas State Athletics, I'm Brant Freeman with the Bobcat Minute.
Welcome to the inaugural episode of the Bobcat 10 Minutes. I'm Karl Schoening, Digital Media Coordinator for the Bobcat Club. He's Brant Freeman, the ESPN Plus voice of your Texas State Bobcats. And we're so happy you guys joined us for this first ever episode of something that we'll probably try to send out to you guys weekly unless you guys demand it more here on the Bobcat Club's social media content. Before we get into just a crazy week of Texas State athletics before Bobcats, we recap the Bobcat weekend and we talk about this upcoming week, which has some postseason implication, the start of conference play for softball and baseball. Just want to let you guys know, in case you didn't get the invitation in the mail, Bobcat Bonanza is going to be April 25th at 6 p.m. right here at Strand Arena. We are broadcasting from the Hall of Honor upstairs in the newly renovated Strand Arena. And, I say newly renovated. It's been about a year.
It has,
yep. First thing we just want to touch on is baseball and softball. They come off of pretty solid weekends. Texas State softball goes 2-1 against Georgia State. Baseball sweeps Bethune-Cookman. And then this week they're going to have a crazy one. But you were on the call for baseball. How's this baseball team looking 12-4 through the start of the season?
Well, playing pretty well right now. The Bobcats have won 9 out of their past 10. As you said, the sweep over Bethune-Cookman this past weekend. Before that, a run rule victory at Baylor, the first ever run rule for the program over a Power 5 team. 12-2 win again there in Waco. The pitching for the Bobcats was really good over the weekend against the Wildcats, their final non-conference weekend. 36 strikeouts for the Bobcat pitching over the weekend, and the offense is starting to come around as well. After kind of a slow start to the season, the bats are coming around. Hitters like John Wuthridge and Will Hollis and Wes Faze that have been really good this year. Dalton Sheffield, Jackson Williams started to get their bats turned around after a slow start. So baseball is playing really well. You mentioned softball. They opened conference play by taking 2 of 3 over Georgia State, a run rule of their own on Friday, 16-0. 7 different players hit home runs in that game for the Bobcats. And then they won the series on Sunday with a 7-0 victory. And they'll play their first conference series at home this weekend against Coastal Carolina. Looking forward to all that coming up.
Yeah, baseball, softball in full swing. Softball just started their conference schedule this past weekend. Baseball is Appalachian State this weekend. Don't forget that this upcoming week, some big games for baseball. UTSA on Tuesday, Prairie View A&M on Wednesday. For Tuesday's game, I'll actually be on the broadcast for UTSA. It'll be stream only because the Texas State women's basketball team will be playing UTA. That game will be on KTSW for those who want to listen in to Clint Shields, who will be on the broadcast. But obviously, this is very much the beginning of March Madness with both women's and men's teams playing some single elimination games starting this week. We'll start off with the women's team. They're going up to UTA. They had a bit of a rough start to the season. It was a lot of games where they were in it in the fourth quarter and just couldn't quite finish. They started off winless in conference, but they were able to call their way in. And I think you've seen more games than anybody, Brant, where you talk about this team can, once they get into the tournament, might be able to make some noise because their record doesn't quite reflect how good they are.
It doesn't. As you said, a tough start to conference play. The Bobcats started Sunbelt play 0-8, and in 7 of those games they held leads in the fourth quarter at some point, but they got their first conference win over UTA, who they play to open up the Sun Belt tournament in the 3-10 matchup at Arlington, as you said, Karl, Tuesday at 6 p.m. there at the College Park Center. But the Bobcats playing much better basketball as of late. They've been finishing games as of late, winning 5 of their final 7 games to get into the Sun Belt tournament. Playing some pretty good basketball right now. You have the senior twins, the Holly sisters, Bailey and Brooke. And Brooke, of course, became just the 19th player in program history to score more than 1,000 points in her career. Bailey's having a career year for the team. There's a talented point guard in Kennedy Taylor. You have the top scorer on the team, Denasia Hood, a good three-point threat. And again, they've proven they can beat UTA. They've done it this season. Hopefully they can pull off an upset and advance into the quarterfinal round on Wednesday. Awaiting everybody in New Orleans on the women's side is Coastal Carolina and Troy, the 1 and 2 seeds in the upcoming tournament.
Yeah, and Denasia Hood actually really got off to a strong start, hit her stride in the season against UTA here at Strand Arena when she hit 6 of 6 3-pointers. So, watch out for those Bobcats if they get hot here in the conference tournament. Shifting gears to the men's basketball team, Wednesday they will be hosting quite possibly the biggest game ever here in Strand Arena postseason. Sun Belt Conference quarterfinals tournament for a chance to go to New Orleans, and they'll be playing the winner of Coastal Carolina and App State. It'll be a whiteout. You should be here. We'll have hand sanitizer and soap and everything in the bathroom, so you guys don't have to worry about it. But Brant, how do the Bobcats match up against either potential opponent?
Well, you look at Coastal Carolina first and foremost, and the Bobcats swept the Chanticleers in the regular season. A big second-half turnaround of the game here in San Marcos. They were down big, I believe down by 9 at halftime of that game, and again, they dominated in the second half. And then they went to Conway, South Carolina, and won by 37, 100-63, in a rout of the Chanticleers there in Conway. The series against App State was a split. The home team won both games, but neither team was at full strength in those two matchups. Here in San Marcos, O'Shawn Williams was not available. Neither was Isaac Johnson, 2 key players for the Mountaineers. And then the game in Boone, North Carolina, of course, the Bobcats didn't have Nigel Pearson return home for the birth of his daughter, Nova. So these two teams really haven't seen each other full strength. If they should meet on Wednesday, it should be an interesting game because the Mountaineers played some pretty good basketball this year. The Bobcats, of course, did as well, finishing third at a very tough Sun Belt Conference.
Yeah, and, we look at this Bobcat team that got off to a rocky start to conference themselves, the men's side of things, and obviously that 2 seed was very coveted. But the silver lining is I think that this is shaping up to be perhaps the most wild game that we'll see at Strand Arena. So I'm really looking forward to whoever their opponent is, one last chance to catch the Bobcats. And if you're anywhere in the Central Texas area, even if you're not, fly in, drive along the way, come in, support your Bobcats, and get ready for that monster of a game. The Prairie View A&M game will actually start at 4 o'clock for baseball to accommodate anybody that wants to go to both games. So obviously, come out, support your Bobcats. This is one of the biggest weeks in Texas State athletics recent history that I can imagine. So, yeah, I think that this is going to be a fun time for anybody involved with Texas State athletics, as all of these programs are just on some great streaks for themselves. Something we've talked about is that this could be the best 4-year stretch of Texas State men's basketball in their history.
Yeah, I'd agree. You look, and it's been 3 21 seasons over the past 4 years for the program. They were in the championship game in Nigel Pearson's freshman season, and they have a legitimate chance of making it to New Orleans in the semifinal round and maybe the championship game again this weekend. If they get by App State or Coastal Carolina on Wednesday, it would be a rematch against South Alabama in the semifinals on Saturday, and the championship game looming there on Sunday. And it'd be a fitting end to Nigel Pearson's career to have him sent off by playing in the field of 64 in the NCAA tournament, helping lead this program to its first appearance in the Big Dance since 1997. And again, this team has a legitimate chance of doing that.
Yeah, exactly. And, I don't necessarily know where I'll be, but hopefully I'll be wherever the regional is if the Bobcats make it. So, obviously, NCAA is going to be fun time. Brent, I know it's called the Bobcat 10 Minutes, but just so you guys know, it's not always going to be 10 minutes. We always start off with the Bobcat Minute. If you don't catch that, where can people find it if they want to listen to it on the basis that you create it?
Yeah, sure. So I put together the Bobcat Minute every day, Monday through Friday, on the flagship station for Bobcat Athletics, AM 1300 The Zone, which also airs Texas State football and basketball. For those of you that cannot make it to Wednesday for whatever reason, then you can catch the call on the air on AM 1300 or through the TuneIn app with their very own Bill Colhane on the call. Pregame coverage starting at 6:30. And again, the Bobcat Minute you can catch every morning at 8:30 on AM 1300 The Zone, Monday through Friday.
Yeah, exactly. Always fun to listen to Harge and Chip Brown on the bottom line. So Bobcats obviously well represented every day, 8:30 on that channel. And then on the weekends, let's not forget about our good old buddy Ken Milam, an offensive lineman at Southwest Texas State. He has the morning shows on Saturday and Sunday. He doesn't talk too much athletic sports, but he's always a hoot and fun to listen to.
And he's a Bobcat, so.
Yeah, exactly. And he loves himself some Texas State and Bobcats as well. Well, thank you guys for tuning into this inaugural episode. It hasn't quite been 10 minutes, but we're going to go ahead and send you off a little early. We'll catch y'all next time.